Hi, welcome back to Frankly Wines in the time of Corona. My name is Liz. We'll be continuing our Italian tour today. So far we have been further up in the foothills in the north of the Italian Alps. However, it's interesting to note that the Italian Alps actually are not just in the north, they spill down the entire west coast. So today we kind of kick off our focus on the Langhe, which is kind of like the hotbed of activity. I am going to drag out a map just so you understand the area that we're talking about really quickly, and you can kind of see how this gives you, so it's called the Langhe, and it's called the Langhe, that means tongues. And it's literally because it's the foothills of the mountains, and as you can see, they're kind of like in these long linear, like it kind of spills, these foothills spill out like tongues, and so that was why they named it the Langhe. However, it should be noted that this is pointing out the area for Barolo and Barbaresco and the city of Alba, but we're going to be talking today about some wines that are technically coming from just off the map. So we're going to first start just west of this area, about 45 minutes in Saluzzo, and then we're going to taste two other wines that are closer to Asti on that side. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a visual. Otherwise, you can check the website because we're going to have some maps uploaded there as well. And it should be noted that we are offering, 10% off on all of the wines that we're doing for the tastings. You can find them all on franklywines.com. If you go on the menu to virtual tastings, it'll show you all of the writing, all of the maps, some photographs from when I was over in Italy doing this tour in 2009, and you can buy the wines and, taste along with us. Anyway, so back to what we're talking about today. So the Langhe is mainly known for red wines made from Nebbiolo, Barolo, Barbaresco, but they're also known for a lot of other grapes too. Most of us know Barbera, and we'll see Barbera d'Alba, we'll see Barbera d'Asti, which is what we're going to taste today. But then you see Dolcetto, you see grapes like Ruche, we're going to taste a Pelaverga, you might see a Fresa, you might see Grignolino, and then if we jump over to whites, you'll see Arnese, you can see Gavis, which are also from more in the Monferrato area, and Timorasso is also kind of a fun grape from over in that part of town, and then you do see some Langhe Chardonnays and Sauvignons. But we're going to focus on three of these kind of off the beaten track reds today. And so, as I said before, since the mountains kind of spill down the west side, we'll kick off here. This is going to be a Colline Saluzzesi. Yes, I said it right. So this is what I was saying is on the hills of Saluzzo. This is about 45 minutes west of right smack in the center of the Barolo territory. Now here they're still way up about 350 meters above sea, and you still kind of feel, much like the Torrette and some of these reds we've been drinking so far, you still get this feeling that this is a very mountainous red. It's got a lot of wild herbs on it. You can tell from the color. It's also pretty light. Now, I will say, this bottle of all three of these, it took a second. Like when you open this bottle, you could consider decanting it. You could pour a glass, then put the cork back in and shake it up a little bit. It definitely needs a moment, but even within 15 minutes, it started to open up a lot more. They can be a little stringent at first. But so this is Pelaverga Grosso technically. Now Pelaverga is a grape that you mainly see in the very northern part of the Barolo zone around the city of Verduno. And that is technically a different strain of the grape, but it's what's seen most commonly today. Now this is going to be, again, over in the hills on the west side. Technically this is Pelaverga Grosso, which means fat, a bigger varietal of the grape. And apparently it had been very common, and then it just kind of, a lot of people stopped planting it. It was almost extinct by the 70s, but slowly but surely, some of these estates are bringing it back. These guys have a total of 3 hectares, which most of it is Pelaverga, but they do quite a bit of Barbera and a few other grapes. They farm organically. Yeah, it's just got this beautiful kind of like light nose to it. It ferments in stainless steel, and then it does do a little bit of time in some larger barrels, I believe. Shoot, I guess I didn't totally write that down. But anyways, it's a very kind of light, fresh red. So much better. I mean, honestly, this is a wine that was really, really angular when we first opened it. So much prettier now. A nice alternative to a Beaujolais. Just like a nice little pretty red. It's interesting. I guess that they don't harvest this until like the middle of October, because since they're still kind of up in the mountains, it's still pretty cold. But yeah, pretty lovely little guy. It really like kicks the wild herbs. But yeah, a fun little alternative to Pelaverga from Verduno, or just Gamay or Pinot Noir. All right, so now we're gonna go flip over to closer to Asti. So Alba and Asti are the big cities. Alba is right near Barolo and Barbaresco. So Alba is probably like the main wine town city. However, closer to Asti, you will end up having a lot of Barbera and then a lot of a grape that only is grown out there. This is Ruche. It's spelled R-U-C-H-E, but just remember that C-H makes a K sound in Italian. This is a very fun and definitely wildly unique varietal. Ruche, from the moment I popped it, it smells like violets. Like it is just popping all of those like really, really high-toned aromatics, super floral. It also has a little bit of this like kind of like bright berry note to it, and finishes with a lot of white pepper. So this is honestly, people who like chinoms, people who like to drink, I guess I can't say Beaujolais again, but truthfully, people who like bright aromatic wines, specifically ones that are a little bit spicy, this is the perfect wine for you, because it's got all this great kind of like spice on the nose. God. Now, personally, I would have this with salumi, like spicy, mild. If I was eating some kind of salty, fatty meats, this would go perfect. You could also just pair it with something like lasagna and any sort of like kind of hearty food, or you could certainly do it with like barbecue, like ribs, because I often tend to like things like cab franc to kind of pop the spice and a little bit of sweetness of barbecue sauce. This could definitely work there too. Yes, much more kind of like higher toned fruit, but this excellent little spice. There's no oak on this wine, all stainless steel. And yeah, just generally speaking, Ruche is a grape that you're only gonna get in a small little pocket of towns in this area called the Monferrato, which is basically the wine area east of the Langhe, which encompasses the city of Asti and also Alessandria. Anyways, there's that. We do also have a higher end one from his where he does a longer day maceration, and that gets quite tannic and quite intense and earthy. Finally, we hit our last wines. Okay, so we're still over in the Monferrato. In fact, now we're really close to Asti. This is Crotin. This is their Barbera d'Asti La Martina. So La Martina is actually the name of the vineyard. They don't do any oak on this guy either. It's totally stainless steel, and to be honest, Barbera is one of those wines that I sometimes get nervous suggesting it unless there's food involved, because there is a lot of acidity on Barbera. But it's really quite, this of the three of these was the most immediately quaffable. It was, I think, the most immediately rewarding, both off the nose and on the palate. And just a little tip. So as I was saying, Barbera is a grape that you find grown all throughout both the Langhe, even spilling over to other regions. However, in the Langhe, which it has Barolo and Barbaresco and whatnot, they're never going to give their best vineyard site to Barbera. However, in the Asti area, they always plant the best vineyard sites to Barbera. So when you see a Barbera from Asti, chances are it's actually been treated, they've actually like treated it with a lot more care than they might have in the Alba area, because there it's like they have bigger fish to fry. They've got Barolo vineyards to tend. They have this and that. But whereas Barbera is actually the dominant varietal as you head over into the Monferrato Hills. So again, here we've got a little bit of a few days on the maceration. They make 3,000 bottles of this in total. And yeah, no oak, just fresh and easy. $21 on the shelf. Has like a little bit more meat and guts to it than either of these guys. Like both of these wines are definitely like aromatic and fun and angular. And here you get spice, here you get the wild herbs. Here you get more body, a little bit more plushness. You could have pizza with this, you could have pasta, you could do burgers, you could do whatever. Barbera is one of the most versatile food wines. It kind of goes with everything. It's got nice acidity, very cleansing, and just generally speaking, just, you know, a lovely, quaffable, everyday red that you can feel good about having at home. Okay, so that kind of brings us to the end of today's tasting, and I want to let you know we've done a change up in the format for this. So, moving forward, as much as I am loving Italy and diving through everything, I feel like I'm also taking in all these other cases of cool new spring arrivals, and I want to talk to you guys about those too. So, moving forward, Tuesdays, we're going to continue our tour of Italy, and our Thursday tasting is actually going to be highlighting some of the new things coming in. So, seeing as tomorrow is Wednesday, and we'll mark the start of Passover, we were thinking about Passover, and this Sunday is Easter. A lot of times people will do lamb for Easter, and it's not odd for somebody to make a brisket for Passover. So we were thinking, what are brisket Passover wines? Well, Syrah is kind of the obvious one. So we're going to do a Swiss Syrah from Valais, which drinks very much like a Northern Rhone, but it's just got a little bit more of this mountainous feel. We're also going to jump all the way down to Australia, and we're going to do a Barossa blend from Tim Smith. So this is his Mataro, aka Mourvedre, Grenache, and Shiraz, aka Syrah. So this has this great like eucalyptus wild herb thing going on, which particularly I think would go really, really nicely with lamb based on those like kind of like the mint pairing. Then we're going to do 2 whites as well. Now, I fully admit that this just to us said Easter in a bottle, but it's just such a delicious, good value. This is a $19 liter of Weissburgunder, which is Pinot Bianco or Pinot Blanc, coming from Germany. No oak, bright, high acid, in case you happen to be, you know, cooking all day and need some wine to cook and need some wine to sip. And we just thought that the label was like perfect. And then finally, as far as a white that would actually pair well with, again, things like, you know, lamb and greens and all sorts of like, you know, noodles, kugel, and all the different food you might be making on your Passover table. This is the Milano Old Vine Swartland White. So this is going to be a blend based on Chenin Blanc with a bunch of other grapes in it, coming from South Africa. A beautiful, very lovely textured and interesting white that really, when we kind of were like, what white would I drink if I was having either lamb or brisket? We said this. So we're going to talk more about it on Thursday. Hope you're as excited as we are to talk about something that isn't Italian, even though I love you guys. Be well, stay safe. We'll see you then.